Testing, testing. Y'all can hear me? Think this is working. Edit, public. All right. What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Chris, desir.chris back with another video. This is going to be Virgo season. We are no longer in Leo season. Starting today, we are officially in Virgo season. This is the last month of the summer. There are 3 months in summer. We are now 2 months in officially. We have 1 month left, or we're about, you could say about 60 days, about not exactly 60 days in, or 66% through the summer season, when that last third of the summer, right? And I just wanted to break down. I don't know if this is going to be just as long as a live stream as I usually go through, or it might be a little bit shorter. But wanted to break down the chart for anybody who has any concerns about it. Wanted to break down the chart a little bit. Wanted to break down how you read astrology, because this has been on my mind for the past couple of weeks. I've been learning more and more skills and abilities that you can do with astrology just by viewing it in my everyday life. Just by viewing it in my everyday life, I'm coming to realize how much you can actually get done and how much you start to see about yourself and the world through astrology when you actually go out your way to go and do it, right? First thing you need to realize is this: when it comes to astrology, it's everywhere. It defines everyone. Once you get into the science, truly as a science, and you do observations, you go out and you start testing things, you start figuring out how the motions of the planet actually work, and you start using formulas based around those motions to see results happening in your environment. It widens your perspective on the world. It opens your mind. And as I'm saying this right now, Jupiter is in the 6th house. If you are in New York right now, relative to me, because depending on where you are in the world, the chart shifts. Each of the planets are going to stay within the same signs for the most part, but the houses shift depending on your location and your geo coordinates around the world. Jupiter is currently in the 6th house. My 6th house. The 6th house is work, practice, critique. Also, going through the 6th house right now is Neptune. Neptune is imagination. It is fear. It is relaxing. It is calm. It is prisons. It is hotels. It is being wrong. Mistakes. Now think about this. The 6th house, accuracy, correctness, critique, is ruled by Mercury. The opposite of the 6th house, 180 degrees away from the 6th house, is Pisces, the 12th house. The opposite, which is ruled by Neptune. So you have the ruler of the 12th house, Neptune, Pisces, right? The sign of Pisces, the ruler is Neptune, in the 6th house right now, in its opposite sign. When you're doing astrology, how are you going to make a reading out of that? What's a basic thing that you can get from any astrologer? Well, not any astrologer, but most astrologers might tell you if they know enough keywords. Neptune means mistakes. This is something I had to come to figure out on my own when I was hypothesizing what do the keywords mean and how do they mean across the chart. Virgo is supposed to be accuracy. How do I read that? You might make a mistake in your work. That in itself can give you a prime example of how it could work. But to make this more and even more solidified, the planet Mercury right now is currently in the 12th house. It's in the 12th house. I don't know why that's not focusing right now. It's in the 12th house. So you have the ruler of the 6th house in the 12th house, and you're the ruler of the 12th house in the 6th house. That indicates the same thing. There's nothing really different you can say about Mercury being in Pisces or Mercury is currently in Virgo. There's nothing different you can say about Mercury being in the 12th house than you can say about Neptune being in the 6th. They point to the same thing. And now how to make this really true or accurate, I was doing my astrological work, 6th house, earlier today. I am a Virgo rising. The 6th house of Virgo is Aquarius. Aquarius is astrology. I was working on astrology earlier today while these opposing planets were in each other's signs. So I already knew when I saw this, I could make a mistake in my work. So I was extra fearful, Neptune, and extra cautious, Neptune, when doing my work, so I wouldn't make a mistake. And I realized something. I wasn't making a mistake in the current math that I was doing, which is Saturn. I wasn't making a mistake in the current math. But what did I catch? What did I see? Is that the numbers I got for my equation for the math I was doing for today was correct. The math I did for yesterday was wrong. Neptune is also the past. I had come to realize when checking my work, Mercury, that the math I did in the past, Neptune, yesterday was wrong. I thought it was only going to apply to the math I was doing today. Right now, the work I was doing currently, it applied to what happened to me yesterday. And this is just a transiting chart I'm talking about right now. I haven't even talked about going into the solar chart or the lunar chart. Two charts I've been working with recently. And that, again, Jupiter's here too in the 6th house, opened my mind to realize you can't escape the chart. I was actively trying to avoid what the chart was saying. I was actively trying to manipulate the situation for the chart to not play out, or at least quote unquote try to mitigate the effects of the chart. It still indicated that I would make a mistake or I would catch a mistake, and it did. You can't stop the chart. You can't stop it. You just can't stop the chart. The chart will continue to play out what is said to happen in your life. That fact is just not going to change. And the key and beauty about astrology is you come to know that. You come to know that. You come to know that. So that is already how I started off my Virgo season. That's already how I started to starting off my Virgo season, because every single day you're going to learn something new. You're going to see the chart play out. It doesn't fail you. Nonstop. Every day it doesn't fail you. It doesn't fail you. And at first, it may seem like you're just jumping around, just trying to make keywords work. But the more and more and more and more and more and more you do it, the more consistent you get at it. Like anything in life that you try, you start to get used to it. You start to see, wait, this doesn't make sense. Wait, that is not an applying keyword, or this keyword actually works with this, or this is actually applying to that. Another thing, Pluto being in the second house, I couldn't see that. Pluto is death, murder, regeneration, sex, anything having to do with life, transference of any kind. And it's opposite sign. It's opposite sign. Venus, ruler of Taurus, the second house, is money, commerce, providence, providing, banks, laws, acts, codes, government, nature, flowers, all of that, right? And I'm still trying to conceptualize how nature is the opposite of life and death. And when I'm sitting in my room doing my mathematical equations, it's hard for me to see Pluto. I can see Venus play out. I go get some food, I get some money, I can see Venus just fine. And depending on who you are and where your life is, you might not see certain planets play out as frequently or as commonly as other planets in your chart, depending on your rising, depending on your sun sign and your placements, all of that. But it turns out that you're going to end up seeing those placements anyways. I was having such a hard time trying to understand the Pluto aspect of Pluto being in the second house. I ended up, I'm pretty sure this was yesterday as well, going to the bank, which is Venus. And on my way to the bank, I realized something. The bank that I go to, on the way to the bank is a cemetery, which is Pluto. And across from the cemetery, on my way to the bank, when I'm driving back home taking the same route, across from the cemetery is a funeral home, which is Pluto. And that funeral home had a green sign on the outside of it, which is Venus, which is the ruler of Taurus, ruler of the second house. You can't escape it. If you're not going to see it inside your house, if you go outside, you will see what the chart indicates there to be. It's concurrent. However that chart is moving is going to concur with how you see things in your actual everyday life. And in two charts, in the transiting chart and in the solar chart, Pluto was in the second. On my way to the bank, I passed the funeral. On my way back from the bank, I saw the funeral home. Two indications of Pluto. Two indications right there. you start to see the world around you. You start to see how things play out in your life when it comes to the chart, and how it really indicates everything you can imagine. Most astrologers are not going to tell you this. Most astrologers are not going to try to explain this to you because they don't even know how to do it themselves. Most astrologers, this is the max of what they can do. They'll just read a book on some keywords that somebody else found out for them. They'll read you the chart and they'll get some accurate results because the keywords work, but they could only apply it to what they see right then and there. You take away the chart away from them, you cut off their internet, they can't read your chart no more because they don't really understand how it works. They only read a couple of baby facts and they can spend their entire careers just off those baby facts alone. They really don't understand how this really works. So when certain people run into astrologers and be like, they say this all the time, this doesn't work, or, this is so general, this really doesn't apply to my life. That's because most astrologers really have not taken the time and energy to find out how the motions work and how they apply in real life. They just don't know how to do it. Or if they predict something, because they can predict something right now, they could look at a chart and be like, Sun in Pluto, Sun conjunct Pluto, a famous official might die. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Can you make that apply to my life? They can't do that for you. They can't do that for you. Because they don't know how to look at the chart without seeing it in front of their face. They don't have it in their mind how the chart works. They don't know how to look at a person and tell from that person, oh, you're a Leo rising. This is your sun sign. This is your moon sign. This is how the life is going to play out for you. This is how your life is going to play out for you. Most of them only use it psychologically. When you read the chart or they read a chart for you, they're only going to give you a psychological breakdown of how the chart is going to work for you. They're only going to give you a psychological breakdown. They don't know how to take the chart and actually apply it to life. Because most of these books that they read are not even accurate. The people who write these books don't give the formulas for the books. They don't give you the formulas. They don't tell you how they establish those keywords. They'll talk about things about when a full moon happens here, when a retrograde cycle happens there, and show no work. They'll just tell you this is what this means. And you just believe them. And that's why most of their work is wrong. And depending on what books you read, they're giving keywords and descriptions to things that don't really apply. For example, a retrograde, all a retrograde is after a planet goes stationary, it will cross back in relative to the birth chart or relative to a natal chart or any astrological chart that you're reading. All a retrograde will visually show you, but it's not actually how it works. And actually point to is a planet will cross over a certain degree, go back across a certain number of degrees, then cross over that degree again. So if you have a retrograde, quote unquote, happening during the degrees that are conjunct or congruent with placements in your natal chart, you may have two of those instances in one cycle, in 1 month, in 1 year at max. Retrogrades don't really go that long. Only if you're really talking about maybe Pluto, maybe Neptune, a retrograde can quote unquote take months to happen, or a retrograde may happen in your sign, and in your sign in your degree for a certain period of time. That's about it. That's about it. That's about it. And again, these astrologers, they really don't know that. They'll be giving readings out for a majority of their career, and they just eyeball the reading. They just eyeball it. You know what I'm saying? The quote unquote keywords they've been given, that they've been figuring out, trying to find out, the keywords that they've been given, they'll apply them to their readings, and they'll get a general accurate amount of results with certain people. But they don't keep track of every single reading that they do and delineate or distinguish between this is a Leo, and every time I give a reading to these Leos have this effect. This is a Sagittarius. Every time I give a reading to these Sagittarians have this effect. This is a Pisces. Every time I read a Pisces, they don't do that. They don't read like that. They don't read like that. They're not actually keeping track of what's going on or what's going down in the readings. So when they read things like retrogrades and things like that, you can't really take that with a grain of salt, because guarantee you what they're saying is being caused by a retrograde. Again, a retrograde in itself does nothing. Anything they're telling you could happen by a retrograde, you're going to have to see what planets are crossing over what degrees that are congruent to your natal chart. What are they going to aspect in terms of other planets in which other signs? A retrograde in itself means nothing. Same way Mercury in itself means little to nothing. If you want a more detailed answer, if you want a more specific answer to your life, you're going to have to do the math. You're going to have to understand the motions of the planets and how they move. Most people in general don't even know how many minutes there are in a day. Most people in general don't know even how much time there is accurately in a day. A day isn't exactly 24 hours. It's not exactly 24 hours. And they don't even know the amount of minutes there are in a day. So when you give an accurate reading, a super accurate reading to somebody, they'll be like, how did you do that? I've been studying astrology for XYZ amount of years. I couldn't figure that out. Because you never tried to. You never went out of your way. You just read what somebody else told you, saw that you were getting some results from it, and decided to stick with it. You're not doing astrology at that point. That's not real astrology. You're basically just copying and pasting somebody else's ideas that seem to have some accuracy. If you really want to be up on this science, if you really want to be up on what's going on, you gotta actively go out your way to search and find new things. You gotta actively go out your way to test things. And it's only when you do that, you gotta go actively out your way to find somebody who truly knows more than you in the science and go learn from them. Or if there is a field or a specific branch of astrology that people don't really talk about, go figure it out. Seek and you shall find. Ask and you shall receive. You got to go out your way to find it. Because 95% of the astrologers that I was running into, they sounded good on paper. They sounded good on paper. What they were talking about sounded great to me. But again, if it's not outside of basic, look at a transiting chart and see where the planets are, or basic, 1 degree equals 1 day, which is wrong. That's not a proper progression. 1 degree does not equal 1 day. That is wrong. That does not even apply to the sun. The sun does not move 1 degree per day. The sun doesn't move 1 degree per day. It fluctuates. There are certain periods throughout the year where the sun will move more than 1 degree, and there's more periods throughout the year where the sun will move less than 1 degree. We just came out of Leo season. We are currently in Virgo season right now. The sun moves the slowest during Leo season. It moves the slowest. So it actually moves less than 1 degree per day. The only time the sun really moves about 1 degree per day is going to be during the start of Aries and the start of Libra. But even then, still slightly off. The sun is not consistently at 1 degree for the entire year. That's a wrong statement. Depending on what month you're trying to read for, what sun sign, what rising sign you're trying to read for, that's wrong. That's not the right number you got to use. That's wrong. That's wrong. Again, most astrologers, when you first finding them, they know more than you, and they're gonna say some general information because again, keywords work. Keywords work, but most people don't really even know exactly which keyword goes to which sign. They will actively make a mistake and say, for example, Saturn rules the stomach. No, it doesn't. Saturn rules the bones and the joints. The moon anatomically rules the stomach and the eyes, the esophagus, that entire area. The moon rules that. If you run into an astrologer and all they know is keywords, or all they do is just memorize where the planets are going to be, that's not real astrology. Again, you're just eyeballing what's going on. You're just eyeballing. Your entire career is based off using somebody else's ideas based around the keywords, or other people's observations based around the keywords, and applying it. And if it gives you some level of results, you just run with it. That's not real astrology. That's not real astrology. I'll give you an example. You can drive a car. Somebody can show you how to drive a car. That doesn't automatically know. That doesn't automatically give indication that you can fix a tire. You know how to change out the engine. You don't necessarily know how that car works, but you can drive the car. And again, the most an astrologer may know how to do is do a quote unquote cross comparison chart or a composite chart between one person's chart and another person's chart. That's the equivalent of just being able to fix a flat tire. If your engine breaks down or your transmission fails right on the spot where you have your car, you don't know how to fix it. Hell, you won't even have the tools on you to be able to fix those things. You can completely drive a car and not know anything about how it actually works. You can completely give a natal chart reading based off keywords and not know a damn thing about astrology. That's most astrologers. That is most astrologers. So again, I'm gonna keep having to break this down. I'm gonna have to keep breaking this down. This is crazy. This is crazy. Because Neptune is vision as well. Like your actual ability to see things. Neptune is vision. Neptune is vision. And again, Mercury is accuracy. In the transiting chart, Neptune is crossed over the sixth cusp. So again, that was problems with accurately being able to see. Even right now, as I'm talking, the chart is playing out the way that it said it would. Chart's playing out the way that it said it would. And if you hear anything about numerology, the best numerologers use keywords, which are associated with planets, to give breakdowns. And numerology is not astrology. Numerology is based off astrology. And tarot, same thing with tarot. Same thing with tarot. It's not based on anything, really. It's not really based on anything. Anything that is intuitive, anything that you're just supposed to play or draw into, that's not science. That's not actual observation. That's not science. That's not actual observation. You believe that tarot is going to work for you. That's Neptune. You're playing with cards that have symbols on them that's supposed to represent a message. That's Mercury. It falls in between Mercury and Neptune. Falls between Mercury and Neptune. That's tarot. Numerology is a belief in numbers. That's Neptune belief, and numbers, basic mathematics, Saturn. Saturn. I've been through all the different variations of science or divination, as they want to say. All of it is based in astrology. All of it is based in actual astrology, not just keyword reading and looking at a transiting chart. And if you're an astrologer and you don't know your own natal chart placements by heart, that's a problem. And in all reality, if you're an astrologer and you just believe what the chart just showed you, you're wrong as well. I could have sworn that the chart that I saw online when you search up your birthday gave me an accurate rising. It was wrong. Hell, I thought the degrees I was at was 100% accurate. They were off by minutes of arc. When you do an actual breakdown, nobody really knows the accurate time of birth that they have. Everybody's always usually about an hour or so off. Some people even 2 hours off, which changes. Most people don't know the motions of the planets at all. Like I said, they don't know how far, how much time 360 degrees actually equate to. And if they don't know how much time 360 degrees actually equate to, they can't break that down into hours, minutes, seconds. They don't know how many degrees, how many minutes of arc, how many seconds of arc a chart will move if you're just off by about 2 minutes. Most astrologers don't focus on the math, and that's their downfall. They don't focus on the math. They just read somebody else's interpretation and try to intuit astrology. Astrology is not an intuitive science at all. And this is just me reflecting on astrologers that I would see before. It took me a while to realize that astrology is not intuitive. It's not intuitive at all. You gotta actually work. on it. You got to put down the work and go see it in your real life. You cannot just believe in astrology and it's going to come to you. You cannot intuit somebody's birthday. You got to ask them for that. You cannot intuit when somebody's going to make a mistake. You got to search for that. And once you find it, you're going to see it pop up in the chart. You can't just imagine that or come to the answer. That's why tarot and numerology don't work. You can't really intuit it. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. If all you can do is give a psychological breakdown on a chart, that's not astrology, or that's weak astrology to me. That's weak. You only can tell me psychologically about me, how I've been since the day I was born. I already know that about myself. I don't need a chart for that. I don't need you to tell me about how I feel emotionally. That's the moon. That's weak to me. It took me about a year of just following astrologers who did nothing but that. But the difference between me and most astrologers is that I realize there's more to this than they're talking about. There's more to this than they're teaching about. There is more to this than this. The number of readings that you do for a client does not donate your skill as an astrologer. You could do 20 readings or you can do 2,000 readings. That doesn't donate your skill as an astrologer. That doesn't donate your skill as an astrologer, as an actual astrologer. That doesn't do that. No. If you know just about the same amount of astrology as you did on the day you started, and you're using the literal exact same methods as you did on the day when you first started started getting into astrology, you haven't progressed at all. You haven't progressed at all. You haven't. You gotta start testing what other people say. You gotta start questioning what you're reading in these books, and you gotta start searching for people who truly know more than you do, and go out your way to learn from them. And it may even cost you some money, but if you're really trying to get into the science, if you really want stupid accurate readings, not only for your clients but for yourself, you can do that. Because a transiting chart is not going to be enough of an indication to really tell you anything. It's not going to be a strong enough indication to tell you anything at all. The 1 degree equals 1 year progression is wrong. I already broke that down to you. That is just wrong. And a composite chart on its own is not going to tell you, in general, is not going to tell you when the relationship is going to go through rough patches. It's not going to tell you when you're going to have a height in your relationship. They're too general. It's too broad of a reading. It's not going to tell you what you need to know. Looking at a transiting chart for right now is not going to tell you exactly what you need to know. Some astrologers know some tricks and things like that too. Some astrologers will read books that have, again, some information that work better than others. But again, if you learn some information about Sabian astrology, Sabian, some people might say it, if you learned about the rising sign and how to read by the rising sign, that's going to give you some accurate results too, again. But you can't just take a handful of things, test them out, see some of them that works, and just apply it like that. That's not real astrology for the final time. You gotta fully come to learn and understand the motions of each and every single celestial body. And you really only need to know 10. You really need to only know 10. Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And you could include, if you want, the North Node. You can include the North Node, and you can include, if you want to include also Chiron. So that's really about 12. You don't really need the South Node. You only need 12 things. Memorize and come to know 12 things, and you basically have a understanding of everything that's going to happen to you in life. Everything around you, everything in your society, everything in your community. About 12 things, 13 max, that you really got to focus on, study on. And you're going to see the same things happen day in and day out for the rest of your life. You're just going to know. You're just going to know things that you used to question, ponder about your entire life. You're finally going to have the answers. Life's like deepest questions that most people can't figure out. You're just going to know off the back of your hand. You're just going to know. And on top of it, you're going to just know, you're going to have so much more ability than you could ever imagine. And it's only going to be up to you if you want to apply that or not. That's the true power of astrology. It's like you're going to go to see the Weather Channel. You want to know how tomorrow is going to look, if it's going to be a rainy or sunny day, so you can plan ahead if you want to have a party or not. It's the same thing with astrology. You want to know when good or bad times are going to happen to you next. To you, your family, your job, your health, your community, your home. You want to know when all of those things are going to happen to your events. Why wouldn't you want to know that? You want to know when it's time for you to go out. You check your clock every day. You got to be able to check the charts every day. You want to know, you would love to know when you can go out and meet a potential partner. You would love to know when you can go out and make some money. You would love to know when you can go out and just have the time of your life and truly live your life. That's what it allows you to do. That's why I do this. Because I don't want to be in the dark all my life. I don't want to be in the dark all my life about things. This is how the world breaks down for you, and you're going to get a higher understanding, not only of yourself, mentally, physically, spiritually. You're just going to have a higher understanding of what you may call God and how He has ordained things for you. You're going to have everything that you want, and it's just fun. It's just fun. I'm telling you, when you just start seeing things like, oh my gosh, I did the math for this and it said this and this actually came true. It's so fun because every single day without fail, it doesn't prove you wrong. I've never been into something that has been more accurate in my life. You just see things and they just come true. Every single day. I'm never bored anymore. I'm literally never bored. Even when I'm having a bad moment, I could literally see the bad moment playing out to the very second. It's a ride. And it never lets you down. It really never lets you down. You just have a higher understanding. It forces you to have a higher understanding. You're not even trying to. You don't have to force anything. You just see it and you're like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I guess I've broken it down enough why you need to actually do some research into learning the math and the motions of the planets. I think I'm just going to give a breakdown for Virgo season right now and how that should be applying generally to the 12 signs. At least let me do that for today, right? Let's start off with Aries, right? If you are an Aries right now, you have Jupiter in your 12th house. You have Jupiter in your 12th house, which means you're going to have big dreams. You might dream about something large, dream about jumping, leaping, dream about traveling. You're just gonna be having much more expansive dreams. You have Uranus transiting to your first house right now. You're going to be a lot more active when it comes to being rebellious. You may be more active when it comes to electronics, electricity, machinery, more work when it comes to machinery right now. You have Taurus, you have Mars in Taurus right now. You may be going to get some food and you may run into police. You may see a lot of red cars on your way to go get food. You might be angry when it comes to situations about money, things like that. You have the moon in Gemini for you, your third house. You may be talking a lot more to women. You may be having more and more writing. You might be writing more about the home, things like that. Reading in the home, all those things points to that. You have um, right now you have Venus in your fourth house. Venus in the fourth house is again at home. You may run into situations with money, home situations with money. You might go outside in your backyard, nature, if you have that, things like that. You may doing business from your home, trading from your home, things like that, trading with women, all women of all kinds, younger or older than you, things like that. Sun in your fifth house right now. You may be having a fun time with your children if you have children, having a fun time with a partner, a love affair, things like that. You also have Mercury here as well, so you may be very picky, meticulous. You may be writing something, you may be being very creative right now. You may talk about something that you love, talk with somebody that you love, maybe a child right now. Your sixth house is empty right now. Seventh, eighth house is empty as well. Ninth house, you have Pluto in. Ninth house is Pluto. You may be having um you may be traveling. Ninth house is travel. You may be traveling to a location right now, and while you pass by that location, you may run into a cemetery, a funeral home, things like that. You may be traveling to somebody who may be dying right now, or somebody who's giving birth. Somebody's pregnant and they're about to give birth. Produce new life right now. 10th house, you have Saturn in for you right now. So you may be very serious in your work and your career. You may have a boss that's very serious right now. You may be bossy right now. In your 11th house, you have Neptune. Neptune, your friends may be with friends or with an uncle, elder sibling, elder relative. They may be listening to music right now. They may be wrong about something. They may be delusional about something you may not know. And I already talked about your 12th house. All right, you're gonna go to Taurus. Taurus, you have in your 12th house, you have Uranus. You have Uranus. You may be having weird dreams. In your dreams, it may be shocking to you. You may have a shocking dream, like you never thought you would dream about that dream, things of that nature. Mars is in your first house. You're active right now. You're doing something, you're starting something. You may see a lot of police in your area. You may see a lot of ambulances, red cars, things like that. You may be cooking, making some food, making something sugary. And since you have Mars in there right now, again, it may be hot food, spicy food, police, red. You may go to a restaurant, it's going to be red. That's a lot of Mars in your first house. In your second house, you have the moon. Value, you may be getting money from a parent, money bartering businesses. When you go out, you may run into somebody. Whatever you're buying or selling, you may be buying or selling from a female individual, things like that. You may be going out to the store, the grocery store, with your mom, your sister, your daughter, any womanly figure, anything of that nature. In your third house, you have Venus. So you may be talking about money right now. You may be talking about going outside the nature. You may be in nature, having a conversation right now. You may be writing, reading a book about money, nature, things of that sort. In your fourth house, you have the sun right now. You are actively in a situation. You are consciously aware of something happening in your home, something to do with a woman, something to do with let's see, being creative, being strength in the home, something around that nature, protective maybe. You also have Mercury there in your fourth. So you may be listening to a message from your home. You could be um writing something about the home, writing something about a room, reading something from your house, reading something about cooking, baking. You could be talking about water, things of that nature. Your fifth house is empty right now. Sixth house, seventh house is empty. In your eighth house, you have Pluto. Pluto, you may be talking about a family member that may have passed. You could be um, watching something maybe on TV or a video. Something is going to pop up in your environment or so regarding death, regarding murder, regarding cemeteries, funeral homes, things like that. Something in your immediate environment is going to point to that. You have in your eighth, in your ninth, let's see right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In your ninth house, you have Saturn. When you're traveling, you may be traveling in your car, in a black car right now. You're going to be delays in your travel. If you're going to travel somewhere, there's going to be a delay. You may be running into something that's going to be holding you up in time. You may be traveling with an older person. You may be an older person traveling right now, things of that nature. In your 10th house, you have Neptune. So when it comes to your work, your career, your boss may be delusional right now. You may be with a boss or an elderly person listening to music. Um, when it comes to music, it could be somebody that is an authority figure right now could just be wrong. Like they could say something to you and it's like, this is wrong. Why are you telling me this? I was wrong. You may have went through experience with that just now. You can go through your 11th house is Jupiter. You may be going to a group with your friends. It may be a large friend group, or you may have you're being loud right now. You're being rebellious, and while you're being rebellious, you might be loud. This could be heights, skyscrapers. You could be with on a skyscraper somewhere high above the ground right now, super tall building, things like that. It might be bad weather for you, and you may hear like a loud thunderstorm, things like that, going on in your area about that nature. And I already talked about your 12th house, Gemini right now. Gemini, your 12th house, your 12th house for you, Gemini, you have Mars in your 12th house. So you may be listening to aggressive music that's talking about shooting, stabbing, things like that. You may be listening to aggressive music. You may have had a quick dream, like you dreamed for like you didn't really dream as long as you usually do. It was real fast. You were or something fiery. You had a fire dream, fire idea, something fire when it comes to how you assume some things like that. You may have a dream about police, military, things like that of that nature around that period of time. Your first house, Gemini, you have the moon in your first house right now, so you may be actively um in nature right now. You may be in nature right now with a woman. You may be at your home right now, actively doing something at your home or at a hotel, some part of job. You may be baking right now, things of that nature. In your second house, Gemini, you have Virgo. No, you have Venus in your second house means something to do with money. It's going to be about money. It's going to be about land, um money, land. Venus in your second house could also mean commerce. You're buying, you're selling something right now. You're doing some kind of change. You're going to be spending some sort of money. You might be eating as well, eating something sugary as well, as that could be the case too. Something regarding laws, governments, etiquette, manners. You may be with a partner right now, things of that nature. Your third house, you have the sun in your third house, so you're actively thinking about something. You're consciously writing, reading. You're actively talking right now at this moment in time. You have Mercury also in your third house. So yeah, Mercury in your third house, you are actively doing something regarding reading, thinking, um, giving a message, a report, writing, graffiti, calligraphy, deciphering something, coding something. Is in your third house, and it's something that you're actively involved in that energy right now. Your fourth house is clear, fifth house, sixth house is clear, seventh house, your seventh house right now, you have Pluto in your seventh house. You may be having hate or resentment for a partner, or you might be obsessing over a partner right now, jealousy regarding a partner right now in your life, a significant other of some sort. things around that nature. I don't think it necessarily would just point to death of a partner right now. I don't think. Let me see if there has anything that will report that. First house. Yeah, you may be hating right now because it's opposite your first house. And in your first house, you have the moon right now. So moon opposed Pluto. That can mean if it is death in someone's life, it might be death or somebody's dying in your life. That may be a nurturing parent or a womanly figure in your life, or you may just have hate towards a female partner right now, things of that nature. Some it's either a woman, or if it's not a woman, it's going to be the nurturing parent of Sac nature, or you hate something about your home that you want to fix. In your eighth house, Gemini, right now you have Saturn, which is old, which is delays. What is that? Old delays. You may be going to pass a funerary home or something like that, and it might be somebody old may have passed around that area, around that period of time, around that, things like that. Saturn, that is delays on your way. Or you may hate somebody that's older than you as well. You may hate something black, be jealous, obsessed with something that is old, something that takes a lot of time, of that nature. In your 10th house right now, Gemini, you have Neptune in your 10th house. Wait, yeah, six and no. In your ninth house, you have Neptune right now. In your ninth house, we are having Neptune. That is, you're traveling to go listen to some music. You may not know. Neptune is not knowing. You may not know that you're about to go travel somewhere. Somebody may surprise you and be like, you got to go somewhere, or you were wrong about travel. You thought you were going to travel somewhere, and then you were wrong about that. Um, Delusion is some sort of something of you're not aware of something right now going on with traveling or expansion, or the way you're thinking. You maybe think you're consciously right about something. You might be distinguishing between wrong and right now. And Neptune being there, maybe whatever you're thinking about that you think you're right about, you're actually wrong about. That's what Neptune in the ninth house is going to indicate. In your 10th house, you have Jupiter. That means delays when it comes to large things, delays when it comes to jumping, leaping. Your boss may be a larger person if you're at work right now, or your boss may be expecting you to do something large or grand, going out your way to do something, hunt something, search for something. In your um 11th house, no, in your 12th house. Yeah, I already told you. If I didn't go, I'm gonna go over it again. In your 12th house, you're gonna have shocking dreams right now. Like your dreams are shocking you right now is a shocking example. You just having dreams that surprised you as of late. You didn't expect that. Okay, let's see. Cancer. If your Cancer, your 12th house, Cancer, your 12th house. Actually, Cancer, you have the moon in your first house. Let's see. Cancer, your second house. You have Venus in your second house, Cancer. You have Venus in your second house. That is going to be, again, money situations, things like that. Gemini, what did I read for you? Yeah, I read that for you, Gemini. In your third house, Cancer is going to be about the sun. Okay, I see what I did there. I read Gemini for Cancer and Cancer for Gemini. I did that wrong for that one. That's because in my house, what's going on in my house right now? Let's go to Leo. Leo, your first house is going to be Venus. Your first house is Venus right now for Leo. And Venus in your first house means you're doing something regarding money. You're active about money. You're actively in nature. On the you're actively on the pursuit of money, eating. You're going out to eat something. Actively going out to eat. You may run into um you may pass a bank right now. You may be active, and then you're near a bank or an area of that sort, somewhere out in nature, being active, starting something. In your second house, Leo, you have the sun in your second house. Yeah, so you're actively in nature right now. Like I just said, that's what they call a double indication. You're actively somewhere out in nature right now, or you're actively doing something with money, or you're actively eating at this moment in time, probably while you're watching this. And you're actively eating. It just crossed into the first house over the second cusp. You also have Mercury in your second house. So you are thinking, you may be talking about money, talking while you're eating. You may be talking while you're out in nature, if that's, or you may be observant, you may be more critically observant about money in your life, thinking about money, thinking about the nature or the environment going around in you. Your third house is clear, your fourth house is clear, your fifth house is clear, your sixth house, you have Pluto in your sixth house. You may hate working right now. You're probably outside in nature working. If you're outside in nature working and you hate it, you hate that you have to work right now, or you hate that you're with somebody right now and they hate that they're making you work right now because you just hate it work. You're obsessing over your work right now. You're going out of your way to work right now. Pluto points to both of those things. In your seventh house is Saturn, so there might be complications. So if you are right now, Leo, outside with a partner or something like that, having Saturn in your second house means delays, difficulties, hardships right now with a partner. So if you're outside with a female partner or some sort, or the nurturing partner in the relationship, and they have you outside working, you probably are hating on them right now because they're making it difficult, or you're having difficulties with them in the relationship as of right now. Just again, for today's general reading your seventh house, you have Neptune in it. No, your eighth house. Your eighth house, you have Neptune in it. And Neptune in the eighth house means you're probably listening to murder music, things like that, because eighth house is murder, Pluto, Scorpio. Neptune is music, so you might be listening to music having to do with death, killing, violence, things around that nature, or you may not know about somebody who died. Maybe you're unaware right now of something going on. You may be unaware of why you're mad or what you're hating over, things like that. Or you may hate a song that you're currently listening to or somebody's listening to around you at the moment in period of time. In your ninth house, you have Jupiter in the ninth. You're traveling somewhere expansive, you're jumping, you're leaping. So if you're outside in nature and you're working out, you're jumping, you're leaping, you're doing some sort of like exercise around that area, around that period of time in your life right now. In your ninth, in your 10th house, you have Uranus, your boss, your work. If something is truly delaying you right now in your work, or you're having difficulties right now, you're rebelling because something is difficult for you right now, rebelling, or something you're doing right now that is difficult or hard for you to do, is shocking to you, that is so hard for you to do right now, you're not expecting it, or you're out in nature around humanity, around people, or you're working on a machine right now with a machine right now, and you're just shocked about the amount of difficulty, or somewhere in your job, in your career right now, if you're currently working right now, it's just shocking to you, or there's bad weather in your area where you're working. In your 12th house, no, in your 11th house, Leo, you have Mars right now. Mars in your 11th house, Leo. If you're with friends right now, you may be doing something active with your friends. Your friends may be competing, doing something competitive of that nature. You may be outside with friends in a public area, social network area, and there is a lot of police in the area, ambulances, red cars around the area regarding you being out with friends or in social situations, things like that. And in your 12th house, Leo, is the moon. So you were probably dreaming about a mother figure or a womanly figure in your life. You were probably dreaming about the home, had a home, a dream about your home and things that had gone on in that area in that period of time, things of that nature. Okay, let's go to Virgo. Virgo, your 12th house right now has the sun in it. Um, the sun in your 12th house, that is, you have a belief about God, a belief about children. You probably had a dream about God, dream about children, things of that nature. Venus there being two, you probably were dreaming about money, dreaming about nature, dreaming about being outside, things like that. May have a dream about that, or you have a belief you were wrong, you had a wrong assumption about money, a wrong assumption about nature. You were unaware of something. You're listening to music going on in nature right now. Children might be outside listening to music in nature right now. In your first house right now, you have Mercury. So if you're a Virgo, you are actively explaining something, you were actively criticizing something. I'm a Virgo right now, so I'm really reading myself as well. I'm a Virgo rising, so I am currently actively explaining something, explaining this astrological reading, explaining what's going on at this moment in time, things like that. I'm currently criticizing. I've been criticizing how other people do their work when it comes to astrology and things like that. My second house is clear, or Virgo, your second house is clear, your third house is clear, your fourth house is clear. Your fifth house right now currently has Pluto in there, so you are mad. So you would have jealousy when it comes to children per se, jealousy when it comes to you may hate how somebody operates. You may be hating how famous people, CEOs, kings, presidents may be going about things right now. Now, in your fifth house as well, something having to do with you, or just having some sort of hate regarding your boss, work, something around that nature. In your sixth house right now, you have Saturn. So you're currently working, you're doing something that is difficult right now. You are working with math or mathematics, something around that nature. Your work may be just hard for you right now to do, or you're doing something that's difficult that takes a lot of time to do. I am currently working right now by giving an astrological reading of every single sign, and it's taken about 30-45 minutes already. So I'm doing something right now that's taking a lot of time to get done, literally. um your Virgo, your seventh house right now has Neptune in it. That is the natural home of your partner. You may be having dreams or about a partnership, things like that. Money, you may be thinking about or imagining about food, having ideas about food, things like that. Partnership, you have a belief, you have a partner that's listening to music right now. Any partner, it doesn't have to be necessarily a romantic partner. You could have like a partner when it comes to your work or things like that, that may be listening to music right now, things of that nature. Or you may be delusion, you may have a wrong idea about a partner as of this moment in period in time. Your eighth house right now, Virgo, is going to have Jupiter in it. Jupiter in your eighth house means you're going to travel to an area, and there's going to be a cemetery or something you may run by. You may run by a cemetery, you may run by a funeral home, you may travel, or you may have ideas about how death works. You may have you may be open to the idea of death right now, open to things that are going around that may be death. You may hate having to travel right now. You may get into a situation where you might have to travel somewhere, and you may hate where you're going, things like that, things of that nature. What else could it mean? Jupiter being in the eighth house could be jumping, leaping. You could be obsessed with expanding your mind. I am currently obsessed with trying to understand everything having to do with having an open mind and learning more and searching more about astrology. So I do have an obsession right now with what I'm doing. Into your ninth house, the ninth house has Uranus in it. I am currently teaching. Ninth house is also teaching, educating. I'm also educating people right now on astrology. Uranus is the internet. I'm currently teaching people about astrology right now on the internet, and I'm trying to go fast, which is Mercury, because I'm already spending a lot of time. So I'm quickly giving a general quick breakdown of what's happening right now today in people's charts. I'm currently giving a breakdown. All of that is happening in my ninth house right now as I speak. 10th house is clear. 11th house is the moon. So you may have an elder sibling that is a female elder sibling. I think my older sister is home, so that counts as well. You may be having friends that be female. Your family may be your friends, things like that. And my family, and I have friends of family, and I do have family outside. I can hear them that are friends of mine and things like that too, that I have to go see later anyways. And in my 12th house, or in Virgo's 12th house, you have the sun again. I think I already talked about this, but just in case I didn't, that is your belief. You have a higher belief, and again, in God or things like that. I just have been talking about children and things like that throughout this live stream and things of that nature. So let's go to Libra. This is taking forever. This is taking forever. Libra, currently you have um Mercury in your 12th house. Mercury in your 12th house, maybe you may be wrong about something. You may be analyzing a dream that you had. You may be wrong about a dream you have, or you're having a right, accurate talk about your dreams. You're talking about your dreams, things of that nature. Your first house is clear, second house, third house. And just because, let me just break this down right now. Just be saying your houses are clear doesn't mean nothing is happening. Depending on what is rising right now and what's on your cusp can describe what's happening to you. I'm just giving a general breakdown of all 12 signs, and this is taking forever. So I'm only reading what's going on in the houses that have planets in them right now. So don't think just because a house is clear, nothing can be happening. So Libra, your second house is clear, your third house clear. In your fourth house, you have Pluto. You may hate something going on in your home. You may be obsessing about your home right now. You may be talking about like somebody who may have passed recently that lived in your home, things of that nature. That if you're having a negative aspect transit going on right now. In your fifth house, you have Saturn, so it might be you may have an delays when it comes to, or difficulties with a child. If you have children, you're having difficulties right now. Delays when it comes to your creativity, delays or just hardships right now involving teenagers and things like that. Or you may have children that are getting older, Saturn, and you're realizing that they're getting older as you speak. Your sixth house has Neptune in it. Your sixth house, wait a minute, you have second, third, fourth, fifth. Yep, your sixth house currently has a Neptune in it, and you have Neptune in your sixth house. That means, again, you are wrong about something at this point in time. You are not currently aware of what's going on in when your work. You might be working on something and it just might be wrong right now. You're not fully comprehending. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. You might have to be putting a lot of physical work in to go out your way to fix something that was wrong that you didn't realize, because 150-degree aspect is also physical exertion. Your seventh house right now, Libra, Aries, you have Jupiter in there, so you might be very lucky. Maybe you may be very fortunate with a partner right now. You may be very fortunate with what's going on in your general area. You may be traveling with a partner right now. You're traveling to go see a partner right now. You're traveling with a partner right now. You're teaching something to your partner, something along those lines and of those nature. Your eighth house has Uranus in it, and it has Mars in it. Uranus in the eighth house, it points to shocking revelations. There might have been a calamity you may see on the news, or you may hear something about a bunch of people dying in a calamity, in a bad situation. You may see a news report, somebody died in the news because of electrocution, death by electric chair, a violent death, because this indicator right now, Mars conjunct um Uranus in the eighth, is usually, because the eighth house is death. Uranus can mean calamity or electricity, and Mars can mean violence. So I'm expecting some sort of revelation happening in your life right now regarding um death, a calamity, a violent calamity. Or if it's not that, if you don't have any negative aspects in your own personal chart right now, you could have, for example, you could be obsessing over technology. You could hate technology. You could be on the internet right now. You may be watching something that you just hate, or you're trying to do something quick on the computer and you're messing up right now, so it's getting you mad, angry. You're resenting something that you're seeing having to do with online machinery. You may be working with a machine right now and you hate working with it, and you're just, since you hate it so much, you're trying to go as quick as you possibly can to not have to deal with it anymore. Going into your 10th house, nothing's in your 10th house. Your 11th house, has the moon in it. Moon in your 11th house is again, friendships. You're going to have certain things regarding women going on with your friends in nature, or not in nature. You may be at your home right now. You may have friends at your house right now, things of that nature. You may have females, older siblings that are females at your house right now, things of that nature as well. You may be outside with your friends, things of that time. And your 12th house, Libra, has the sun in it. And again, no, your 12th house has the sun in it right now, and that's in Virgo. So you may be meticulous. You may be dissecting a dream you had about God. You may be criticizing a dream you had about God. You have Venus in there too, something with money and nature. You may have a dream about God or children in nature, and you're criticizing it right now because it's on your 12th house is Virgo, things of that nature as well. There's Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces left. 4 more signs. This is, oh my gosh. All right, let's go to, I forgot Scorpio. 5 more signs. Scorpio, your first house, your 12th house is clear. Your first house is clear. Your second house is clear. Your third house, Scorpio in your third house. And currently Scorpio is rising as of New York, geo coordinate time. So your third house has Pluto in it, talking about death, talking about somebody that you hate, talking about something that you hate. Your fourth house having Saturn, you may have an older woman figure in your life right now, difficulties because of your home, something happening in your home, difficulties because of a woman, things of that nature, um, difficulties because of your family. In your fifth house, you have Neptune. You may love music. You may love listening to music right now, or you're loving the music that you're listening to, something of that nature, or you may love. You may have a child that may be singing, a teenager that's singing right now in your house apartment. I don't know what's going on with my camera. In your sixth house, there is Jupiter right now. Jupiter in your sixth house, Scorpio, means that you're working on something big. You're teaching somebody while you're working. You're reading a big book. You're working on a large project, something around that nature. In the seventh house, you have Uranus. Your partner may be acting weird, eccentric, out of the ordinary, and they might be your partner may be acting sort of aggressive right now and things of that nature, because Mars is there as well, being in your seventh house. Or you may be on, or your partner may be on an electronic device and they sound angry right now. Maybe they're talking to somebody, they're getting angry. Eighth house is clear. Ninth house, your ninth house has the moon in it. You're traveling with a woman, you're traveling to your home, traveling around that nature. 10th house is going to be, um, you have the sun in your 10th house. You are actively with a boss. You're actively bossing somebody around. You're being a boss when it comes to your money, talking about money, things of that nature as well. Being a boss outside in nature, boss in a when it comes to restaurants, you're being a boss of a restaurant, maybe work in a restaurant, something of that nature as well. You're a boss when it comes to anything regarding banks, money's commerce right now. You're handling, you're in control of a money transaction right now. And your 11th house has Mercury in it. You're actively listening to somebody doing astrology. You're actively right now, as you're watching somebody, internet, Uranus, 11th house. And I'm a Mercury, I'm a double Mercury, I'm a Gemini sun, Virgo rising. So you're listening to a Mercury explain astrology to you right now. Simple as that. And your 12th house is clear. Sagittarius, first house clear. Second house, you have Pluto. You may hate what you're eating, obsessing over food. I'm gonna keep it short, be real short right now. Everybody, you're gonna get the gist. Third house, listening to difficult, listening to something serious, talking about something serious, talking about something being difficult right now. Fourth house, um, you got to, let's see, your fourth house, you have Neptune in your fourth house. You may be listening to you music in your home right now. A woman or a nurturing parent may tell you something that is just wrong, or they're being delusional right now. Somebody's singing, something of that nature. Your fifth house has Jupiter in it right now. You love traveling right now. You're traveling to somewhere that you love right now. You may have a child or something, a younger person in your house, searching for something, jumping, leaping, being active right now. Your sixth house, you have Uranus in it. You're working on the internet. You're working on a piece of machinery right now, and you're trying to be quick with it because Mars is there right now. Or you're working with astrology right now, something of that nature, because Uranus is astrology, electricity, and you're trying to be quick about it, something as well. Thing about this is this too, most people don't notice, is you can read, there are duality signs, which means one thing you could say about one sign, you could say about another, because they kind of give the same indication. For example, this sign that I'm reading right now, Scorpio, its duality sign, I forgot the exact name of it, is Virgo. So while I'm reading this right now, this is kind of relating to me as well, but I'm a Virgo, not a Scorpio. So, but since there are duality signs, you could say one thing about one sign is going to apply to the other sign as well. Not exactly, but it's going to be extremely similar. So we're talking about the moon, 10th house, you're working, 11th house. No, what are we talking about? We did Sagittarius right now. Your Sagittarius, your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh house is clear. 8th house has the moon in it. Maybe a female family member died. You have hate over a woman right now. Something about you're obsessing over a woman right now. 10th, your 9th house has the sun in it. You're actively traveling. You're actively you're actively traveling. You're actively working with money. You're going out. You're traveling to go eat. Traveling out to nature. You're consciously the sun in your environment. You're traveling somewhere. You're doing something. You're doing something, and it's going to be involving money, or it's going to be involving food. It's going to be involving nature. Any of those things in that nature. Or you may be traveling with a partner as well. Your 10th house has Mercury in it. You are talking as if you're a boss right now. You are talking with a boss. You're talking with your landlord. You're having difficulties communicating. You may have trouble speaking right now for that instance. And your 11th house is clear and your 12th house is clear. Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, and then it's over. And then it's done. Capricorn, your first house has Pluto right now. You're actively doing something that you hate, or you're with police right now. You see police in your general area, ambulance in your general area, and you just hate it. It's obsessed. Or you may see a police. You may see something in the news about police murdering somebody somewhere now. Murder. First house, Aries. First house is all that. Second house, right now, Capricorn, is you have Saturn there, so you may be doing money math. You may be doing some accounting right now. You may be doing some mathematics around accounting. It may be difficult for you eating. You may be eating something hard. Something is taking time for you to eat right now. You're taking your time eating right now. All those things could be what it means. Your third house right now, it has Neptune in it. You're talking about music. You're currently actively writing music right now. You could be writing music right now, things of that nature. Fourth house, you have Jupiter in it. Jupiter in your fourth house means you're traveling to your home, traveling with a family member home, things of that nature as well. In your fourth house, where second, third, fourth, fifth house, you have Uranus. You love doing something right now on the internet, or you love working with a piece of machinery right now, and you're very active on it right now, things of that nature, things of that branch. Your sixth house is clear. Your seventh house, yep, that's Cancer. Your seventh house has the moon in it right now. You may be with your female partner. They're making you emotionally feel good right now. You're feeling emotionally stable with a partner, or you're eating something that's making you feel emotionally good right now around that nature, around that time. Or since you have Pluto actually in your first house right now, that's an opposition. Since you have Pluto there, it might be the opposite. You may actually hate a partner right now. You may be obsessive over a female partner right now, obsessed over your home, hate something happening in your home right now, hate something regarding your partner and what you're doing at home. And you have, that's a double indication as well. You have in your 8th house, you have Venus in your 8th house, Capricorn. So you're definitely hating something regarding a partner right now. You probably hate something that a partner is doing to you right now, hate something that you're eating right now, because you have Saturn in your second house, which is food eating, and you have Saturn there is delays, difficulty. You're having a difficulty eating some food right now, or you hate what you're eating right now, so you're taking your time, or it's difficult for you to eat it. It can mean that too. and you have the sun there, so you're consciously hating something. Sun in the 8th house, you're actively you could be, again, you could be at a cemetery too, things in place like that. You'd be driving past a cemetery talking about death, seeing death in the news, that happened in nature, something around that time. But it's most likely definitely something probably having to do with something that you're eating right now, or something having to do with money. In your 9th house, you have Mercury. If you're watching this right now and you just happen to be a Capricorn, you're hearing a Mercury, a Virgo, and Gemini sun teaching you right now. I'm teaching about astrology, teaching you what the chart is currently saying at this moment in time for certain planets and aspects. That's what that means too as well. Let's see. In your 10th house is clear, 11th house is clear, 12th house is clear. All right. Aquarius, your first house is Saturn right now. You are currently doing something that is hard, difficult. You're currently delayed in whatever activity that you're seeing. You may see an older person. You may be actively doing something right now with a older individual. You may see a lot of black in your area as well. You may be doing math, actively doing some sort of mathematics right now, construction, building, things of that nature. Aquarius, your second house has Neptune in it, so you could be in nature right now and you smell the aroma of food, odors of food, some things of that nature. You could be thinking about getting food right now. We're not thinking, you could be imagining yourself eating something right now, things of that nature as well. You may be eating seafood. Neptune is sea, seafood, ocean. You may be eating seafood right now as you speak. Your third house has Jupiter in it, so you are again, if you're an Aquarius, your third house being Jupiter, you're listening third house to a Gemini teaching right now if you're watching this video. And it doesn't have to be on this live stream. If you just happen to know your sign and you see this video, whenever you see this video, guarantee you it's still going to apply to whatever point in time that you're listening it to. Your fourth house is going to be Uranus in fourth house. You may be on the internet at home right now listening to something. You are you may be mad about something. You may be active in your home right now. Your fifth house is clear. Your sixth house has the moon in it. You're actively working, correcting, writing about your home, correcting something in your home, things of that nature about a person, about a female individual, the nurturing parent. Your seventh house has the sun in it. So you may be actively eating, actively with a partner, actively outside in nature. And Venus is there again. I keep forgetting the sun and Venus are both in the same sign, so you are actively, consciously, the sun, out with a partner, out in nature, out eating right now. Yeah, something of that sort or nature. Or actively with money, in a money situation, a bank, buying, selling something. Yeah. Your 8th house has Mercury in it. You may be talking about death, talking about a family member who died, something of that sort, something of that nature. Writing something that has to do, reading something, a book that's about death and murder. You may be reading something, a line in a book, and in that book somebody died, in that nature, or something of that sort, things of that case. 12, that's 8th. Your 9th house is clear, 10th house is clear, 11th house is here, and in your 12th house you have Pluto. So again, you may have dreamed about something that you hate, somebody that you hate, obsessing over a dream. Somebody may have died in a dream. You may be listening to murder, Pluto, music. 12th house, you may be listening to a song with somebody who murder music, things of that nature. And finally, Aquarius. Your first house has Neptune in it. Your first house has Neptune in it. So you're actively listening to music. You're actively imagining something. If you know any Aquariuses, if you know any Pisces in your life right now, they might be sleeping right now. They might be calm right now. Things of that nature, listening to music at that point in time. Jupiter is in their second house. So Jupiter in your second house is big money. This is actually good. You have Jupiter in your second house right now. As of right now, Jupiter in your second house is going to be Um, this is opportunity for big money. If you're actually awake right now, you're actually eating a big meal. If you were to go play the lotto right now, you could win some money. Jupiter in your second house right now, you could win some money. If you actually want to go to play the lottery, Jupiter is lottery. Second house is money. You could win some money right now, to be honest. But it's about to cross into your first house. So if you had done that within the last hour, if you didn't play the lottery within the last hour, you probably ate a big meal, or you were out in a big park, a big field, a big area, or something having to do with a large amount, some sort of exchange with a large amount of money. You actually ate something big, or you made some big money, one or the other. Um, Second house, your third house has Uranus in it. Your third house having Uranus in your third house again. You're talking about technology. You're on the internet right now talking to somebody. You may be on Skype, Discord, whatever the case may be, talking, listening to a message, reading something on the internet right now. And the Mars being there as well, you may be quickly skimming through something, quickly running through something, reading about something on the internet, talking about something on the internet, and you may be angry while you're talking. You maybe have angry speech. You might be debating with somebody online, things of that nature as well, Pisces. Your fourth house is clear. Fifth house has the moon in it. Fifth house in the moon means you are there's probably a child in your house or a teenager in your house right now, or you're with a child that's a female child, things of that nature, female teenager of that nature. Or you may love your home right now. You maybe love what's going on in your home right now. You may be the boss of your home right now, not the boss, you may be the leader, the person somebody looks up to in your home right now, things of that nature. This could mean your mother too. The mother could be the head figure of your house right now, something having to do with her or a womanly figure. Your sixth house right now has the sun. You are actively working on something right now. You are actively working on something regarding money, something regarding eating food. Maybe you're actively working on writing a cookbook, something like that nature, something of that regards, working with money right now. You may be doing some sort of accounting, some sort of buying and selling, things like that. You're reading, you're being very meticulous with your money right now, things of that nature. Your seventh house right now has Mercury in it. Okay, so that's a double indicator. You have right now, you have Venus in your sixth house and you have Mercury in your seventh. That's a double indication because those basically say the same thing. So you're being meticulous with your money right now. Something to do with meticulous with your money. You're criticizing a partner right now. Some sort of indication of that. That's what that double indication gives. And your seventh house, eighth house, ninth house. No, that's your seventh. So eighth, ninth, and 10th house are clear right now. Your 11th house currently has Pluto in it. You may hate your friends. You may hate what your friends are doing. Um, you may be obsessing over friends, obsessing over a piece of technology that you want to buy. Like you can't stop thinking about technology. You may hate technology right now, hate something that's going on in that regard. Um, you may heard somebody have died. You may be watching something on YouTube or something in that case, or something on the internet, and in that thing you're watching on the internet, somebody may have died in that instance, or you know some sort of death talk, something pops up, or you may be watching something on the internet about a hater, something about that nature too. And the 12th house right now is you have Saturn in your 12th house. So you may be having a hard time sleeping, hard time dreaming, hard time. If you are sleeping, maybe you're having or you're having a hard time trying to fall asleep right now because Neptune is in your first house. You may be having a hard time trying to fall asleep. Something is delaying you from falling asleep. You're having difficulty sleeping. Um, um, you may be having a dream about building stuff, construction. You may be having a build about destruction, something breaking down of that nature, and things like that. You may be having a dream about older people, things of that nature as well. That was a breakdown of all sorts of the current transiting chart I'm looking at, basic current transiting chart I'm looking at, and there's a breakdown of all 12 signs running through it right here, right now. That took far longer than I thought. Currently right now, I am not taking readings at the moment. I am still learning and practicing as much as I can to get far better, because I'm not trying to be an average astrologer. I'm trying to be an elite astrologer. So this was just a basic reading for Virgo season, because again, we're no longer in Leo season. The sun is 0 degrees into Virgo season right now. We're in the last third of summer. I'll probably have another video about this or later, probably a couple weeks from now. And the more and more time I spend away, trust me, it's every single day I'm working on getting much better with my readings, much more accurate, to the point where I can predict things off the top of my head. I'm going to, in a couple months, bare minimum, I'm gonna be at a point where I don't even need to have a chart open. I'm gonna be having people open to just throwing their birthdays in the chat, and off the top of my head, I'm gonna give a super accurate reading. That's going to be about it. I'm going to be start doing actual by bare minimum by the end of this year. Then I will be fully doing full readings, and you'll be finding information on this channel, on my Instagram, about how to actually contact me for full reading prices. Again, this is not regular everyday stuff I'm doing. This is not regular astrology that you can get from any regular day astrology. I will be giving you to the day, to the month, and depending on what reading you get from me, to the year, accurate information, what's going to happen to you, when you're going to go about doing events, when you should be able to find a partner, when you should be able to make some money, when you should be able to write that book, apply for that job, whatever you should be asking from me. I'm going to let you know when will be the next time that happens, or the next instances in your life that you should be able to look out to. This has been Chris Desir, 100 Agency. I'll catch you guys next time.